Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. God's peace be with you, brothers and sisters. Appreciate you tuning in here today and joining me. It's been a long time since we last spoke. I hope all has been well. It's been a long and crazy year. This year has been, indeed. Really looking forward to some big changes here in this country next year, let me tell you. I hope we've learned from our mistakes and don't repeat them, which is the whole purpose of learning, is to grow but we'll see what happens. But so I'm reaching out today on a very important topic. It's close to my heart because this has relevance in my own life, and it can be a sensitive topic for a lot of people, and I understand why, but it needs to be said. This needs to be addressed, and we need to do something. Absolutely. You cannot stick your head in the sand and be ignorant. Remember, you will be questioned for these things. You'll be questioned why, when you had a chance to help, you didn't. So, let's not be ignorant. Let's not be apathetic. Let's open our hearts and let's have this conversation. And this is about child abuse and child sex trafficking. It is the #1 criminal enterprise worldwide now. It is surpassing the drug trade. And it is child abuse, of course. And myself, I am a victim of former child abuse. Some of my siblings are victims of former child abuse. And let me tell you something. When you're hurt as a child that badly, that deeply, those scars, no matter how strong you get, no matter how far in life you've gotten, they will never go away. Those nightmares will haunt you every day for the rest of your life. You will be in hell every day in your heart for the rest of your life. That is what that does. When you hurt children, when you abuse children, when you put an unwelcome hand on children, you scar them for life. You have done an unspeakable evil. And it needs to stop. It needs to stop. Everywhere it needs to stop. There are untold countless examples of our Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ on how sacred and blessed children are. And you must always be kind and good to them. This idea, especially men in families, this idea that they are the king of their castle and everyone in there is a slave to their will. This attitude needs to go away, because that is not true. And that has not been reinforced in Scripture, nor in the example of our Holy Prophet ﷺ, who always led with mercy and compassion. I mean, look at the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. One of the greatest examples of mercy and compassion in the history of humankind. Okay? Love is the most important virtue in the Quran. The most important thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just constantly speaks to us about. Now, obviously, a lot of other things, that correlate to this is the idea of any kind of sexual perversion, be it fornication or adultery or anything like that, is absolutely, unquestionably forbidden. And this is made very clear by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran in many places, including a good one to start with is Surah Al-Nur, which is chapter 24, Surah 24 in the Quran. very, very clear. You don't do these things. End of story. You do not do these things. Period. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbids it. And He will punish you not just now and later. So, and I think that child molesting ties into this very well. Because again, it is having feelings, unwholesome thoughts and feelings, which are not welcome in Islam at all. Period. Plain and simple. Okay? So this just needs to stop. It needs to stop. Now, I mean, back in the day, we would just take these people, these abusers, these pedos, and we would just line them all up and knock them down like like flies. Bing, bang, done. Just zero tolerance. Nowadays, we try to be a little less corporal. Now, look, I do understand that a lot of abusers are former victims themselves. This is a true, and I think this is a statistical fact. Obviously, it doesn't excuse them, but it does suggest that there may be another approach. Rather than just, maybe these people can be helped, right? With psychotherapy, possibly even medication. Although I sincerely, you know me very well, I don't trust allopathic medicine at all. I think the whole allopathic medicines community's only purpose is to turn us all into used cars and try to find out how much money they can milk out of us. It doesn't care whether they make us better or not. In fact, they prefer we weren't, because obviously a healthy person is a customer lost, according to them. But there are plenty of naturopathic doctors as well as osteopathic doctors whose purpose is to heal and to make you well. Okay? So, again, there may be ways, there may be means to help these people overcome these unwholesome feelings and thoughts and get them on the path. Now, me personally, I can tell you the best cure to that is to read your Holy Quran. Open your heart, read the Quran, get good with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That banishes all evil from you, period, including unwholesome thoughts. I can tell you that for a fact, because it's true for me, okay? I've known some people, some Muslims out there, well respected, well spoken of. Oh, he's the bee's knees. Oh, people would never imagine and these people went home and they put their hands on their children. MashaAllah. Absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. You are going to Jahannam for that. You will be roasted for that. And many times Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will punish you in this life for it too. He will take away your health. He will cripple you. Now these same people, right, that are so glorified and everyone loves them, right? I dare you ask one of them, when's the last time you opened your Quran and started reading? How about you do that now? And you know what? You'll see them recoil from that thought. You'll be like, I don't know. I don't need to read it. I know what it says. That's evil in them talking, because they are afraid. They're afraid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Allah's words. Okay? So again, this is why I think maybe some ruqyah would help. Right? Get those evil influences, those shaitans. Purge them. Remove them. Read those last 3 surahs of the Quran. Right? Surah Al-Falaq, the dawn. Right? And then you've got Surah Al-Ikhlas, the purity, and Surah Al-Nas, mankind. Those are fantastic. And don't forget, of course, one of the greatest ayats in the Quran is Al Kursi, which is the throne. All of these, you recite them, you can banish evil. That's a good thing to do. I read them and recite them constantly, to keep evil screaming and running as far from me as it can, to know that I will not tolerate its existence at all. So one of the things now, obviously, you may not know just how big of an issue this is. It's obviously not going to be covered by mainstream media, because why? Well, major corporations and politicians, they're all dirty. They're all criminals. All of them. The cabal that runs all these big companies like BlackRock, every one of them's a slime ball. Probably a shaitan in human clothing. They're all corrupt and all evil. And that means that they make some of their wealth from crime, so they are profiting from this stuff. Drugs as well as human trafficking and all that. They're making money off of this. These people, right? So, and they control the mainstream media. They control CNN. They control CBS. They control NBC and ABC. They control Fox News. So you're not going to see these things on mainstream media. And of course, a lot of people are like, if it's not on mainstream media, they don't know what happened. They don't know it exists. It's and people just don't have the thought to go looking for things. So therefore, they don't know they happened. The whole idea, like, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's there, does it make a sound? Well, yes, it does, but, nobody noticed. And unfortunately, these things are happening every day and nobody notices. Or people choose not to notice, which is much, much worse. Ignorance is one thing. Apathy, unforgivable. No way. No way. If you deliberately put your head in the sand and cover your ears because you don't want to see it or hear it, nope. That's a crime too. So, anyways, what's really spurned this and really got me fired up in this recently is there's a film that came out. Now, I'll stop anybody right now that says, ugh, you must not watch a movie. Movie is haram. Give me a break. You're on social media right now watching a YouTube video. So just put your foot in your mouth. Okay, buddy? Enough is enough. You're watching a YouTube video. Just stop. Just stop with that nonsense. Just stop with that nonsense. I've already covered this before. There's nothing haram about movies. Just stop with that nonsense, okay? That is craziness that your overlords are trying to compel you into staying in a hole in the ground and not evolving from the 8th century. So just stop, okay? Enough. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, the film I'm talking about is a film called The Sound of Freedom. And it is pretty close to being a documentary, really, because the person the film is based on, the writers, directors, and actors all worked closely with this man to make sure that things were as accurate as possible, because they really wanted to tell this story, because these people, this became like a crusade for them. And the story is based on the efforts of an agent whose name is Tim Ballard, who ran a program called Operation Underground Railroad. And its purpose was to rescue children from child trafficking. The things that they reveal, the statistics in this film, are actually real statistics. The one I told you about how, the child sex trafficking is surpassing drugs as the #1 criminal enterprise in the world, that's a statistical fact. That's a statistical fact that evil cabal does not want you to focus on. And they have tried desperately to throw mud all over this film because they don't want you to watch it. They have tried desperately to defame the people that are involved in this film. especially Agent Tim Ballard himself, who has rescued hundreds of children and saved them. They turn around and create all these false accusations that he's been involved in various lewd acts, which, in my opinion, 100% are all lies. They're trying to destroy his character. That's what they do. This is what these shaitans do. This is what the cabal does. This is what mainstream media does. When their money is threatened, they attack. And that's what they did to him. They tried to defame him. They tried to shut this film down, but they failed. Sound of Freedom is one of the most successful independent films in world history. It has been seen by hundreds of millions of people. And it needs to be seen by every single human being on this planet, even children. You need to be informed. Your children need to be informed of what's happening here. And so in the comments, I'm going to leave some links. I'm going to leave some links about how important it is to conduct yourself properly, purge yourself of all evil and all unwholesome thoughts. I'm going to include some links about how important it is to treat children well, how much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hates those who hurt the innocent, as well as how much he loves those who love and take care of the innocent. Isn't this what you want? Rewards, not punishment? I would say yes. Well, so I'm going to leave some links about that. And I'm also going to leave a link of the trailer for Sound of Freedom, just so you can kind of get a taste of it. The film itself is now streaming for free on Amazon Prime. So if you're a Prime member, you can find it and watch it now. And I definitely urge you to do so. I'll tell you, so there are so many quotes in this film that just, they hit you hard. They hit you hard. It's actually hard to watch this film and not just fall apart a little bit. Couple of things I'll share that really made me stop. One of them was when the agent went to his boss and requested that he allow him to go on this crusade to save this little girl. And his boss told him, "Hey, that we have rules. There's because a lot of the reason it's so hard for us to stop these people is that they operate outside of our borders. Okay." So and obviously, when you're sending people overseas and things like that, there are a lot of rules you got to follow. There are a lot of international protocols. There's a lot of, so he was trying to, his boss was trying to tell him, it's not just we can't just send you anywhere you want to go and let you do anything you want to do. We've got to follow protocols and stuff. And so the agent told him, now understand. Another thing that you see in this film, which is huge, is you realize just how ugly the job of these law enforcement people is. They have to get deep undercover to find these criminals because they're so well hidden. They have to get dirty in some ways themselves. They have to dig into the mud to find these people. They have to be incredible actors, incredibly convincing, in order to sneak into these societies, because these evil societies like the cabal, they don't trust you unless you're just as evil and wicked as they are. And why is that? Well, because what they do is they blackmail you and you blackmail them. So they trust you because they know that they have dirt on you, and then you have dirt on them. So therefore, if something happens to you, something happens to them. If something happens to them, something happens to you. This is how they operate. Okay? So, they're not going to just talk to anybody. So these agents, they have to really almost become criminals themselves. And in fact, some of them unfortunately do, because they get so lost in the role. And so the agent, when his boss, at first tells him, no, we're not going to let you go. The agent said, you don't understand what I'm asking you. He said, this job breaks you up into little pieces. He said, I need to do this. I need to do this so it can help put the pieces back together. He was saying that this rescue mission would make him feel whole again. And so that was huge. And the other thing was when he spoke to someone that he's trying to get his help, and he explained why this child sex trafficking is surpassing the drugs for being such a hot ticket. And he said, well, let me give you an example. He says, if you sell somebody a gram of cocaine, that's it. You made your money one time and the product's gone. He said, but these people can take a 5-year-old boy and they can sell him for 14 times a day for 10 years. And he says, the average person, they don't want to talk about this. This is too ugly of a subject for them. He says, meanwhile, over 2.5 million children are victims every year. He said, if we don't do something, then this is going to haunt you for the rest of your life. And so, yeah, this film is powerful film. And the message that it brings is something that is eye-opening, and it's something that we all need to deal with. We all need to acknowledge and deal with. And it's also very important that we, first of all, you start reading your Quran again, if you haven't been. Because if you do, you're already going to be right there with me in this sense. Your heart is already aligned with mine. You already believe and agree that children are sacred and need to be protected no matter what. And need to be treated well no matter what. And then you need to avoid evil of all kinds. Purge yourself from all evil thoughts and evil feelings at all times. The closer you are to Allah, well, the more these things make total sense. And one of the best ways to stay close to Him is read your Quran. That's it. Read your Quran, and of course, make your daily salat. Make your du'as. Our lives, we get busy, but don't forget a lot of these reasons are distractions from the shaitans, who, of course, are behind all of this wickedness at the end. They're way behind the scenes, sneaking in and sneaking out, whispering in ears. They're the ones influencing a lot of this. Now, of course, they're not making anyone do these things. No. We are responsible for our actions. Okay? That's plain and simple. Even the Holy Quran talks about that. They talk about one day that Iblis is going to give a khutbah, because when everyone's lined up, all the people that are destined for Jahannam are all lining up. The first, one of the things they're going to do is they're all going to point at Iblis and say, "He's the one. The devil made me do it. The devil made me do it." And he's going to step up on his soapbox and he's going to be like, nope. He said, you had two choices. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you a choice and made you a promise. He said, then I gave you a choice and made you a promise. But I lied. And what's more, you knew I was a liar when you chose. He said, I didn't make you do anything. You did it. He said, I am free of all that you do, just as you are free of all that I do. He said, I cannot help you, and you cannot help me. So he's basically telling them all, you're on your own. You made your choices. And, you'd figure at this point, some of these people that make their dark deals would learn by now that in the end, you're always going to get burned. You think about people that sell their soul, for a handful of chump change, because that's what it is in the end. You think about the handful of years that we live here. What do you compare that to when you talk about forever? Okay, all right, say forever is too hard for your brain to accept. Okay, then let's do it this way. Let's say 100 years versus 100,000 years. So, would you rather be wealthy for 100 years and then broke and destitute and miserable and having your flesh melted off your body over and over and over and over and over again for 100,000 years? Or would you rather have a kind of a somewhat balanced life, not fantastic, but maybe you can survive, maybe we can find a way to get through it for 100 years, and then 100,000 years of absolute bliss and joy and everything you could ever want, including things you don't even know you want. It's like, do you want $100 today, or do you want $100 million next year? I mean, for me, it's an easy choice. I don't even have to think about it. But some people are just, again. But this all comes back to reading Quran. This all comes back to getting close to God. Once you're there, everything else just all falls right where it needs to. All the pieces are going to be exactly where they need to be, in exactly the right order. That's really what it all boils down to. And this is honestly how I'm able to get through. A lot of times I get overwhelmed with life. I mean, it's easy for us all to, right? I mean, there's just so much thrown at us every day. And I apologize for those of you who are a little shaken, by everything I presented now. It's a tough subject. I get it. You're rattled too, and I get that. But again, Quran. Get back to the Quran. For a fact, I know for a fact, every word of the Quran is the absolute, direct, true word, straight from heaven, straight from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator of all, right there, his exact words, straight to us. It's the greatest gift he's ever given us. It's amazing. And the thing is the Quran promises us, for those of us who are good and try, and you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. It makes it very clear. Just try. That's all. Just try. Allah grades on a curve. He understands. He understands us better than we know ourselves. Look at Adam, Sallallahu Salam, right? You know, when he ate from the tree. You know, the one sin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you can do anything you want, just don't do this. And he did it. And then Adam Sallallahu Salam, you know, he throws himself, he's like, wait a minute, just, you knew I was going to eat from that tree. When you told me not to, you knew I was going to do it, didn't you? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, yep. And he said, well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I broke your law. I'm sorry I disappointed you. Can you forgive me? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, of course you're forgiven. That's why original sin is a lie. If original sin, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't forgive us, we wouldn't be here. That's a fact. It's a simple, plain and simple fact. Of course he forgave us. Of course he forgave Adam sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is no original sin. Okay? We're all born with a clean slate. So, wow. That's a lot. A lot I had to unload on you, and but it's also very freeing for me to let all that out. But you know, to sum it all up, yes, you definitely need to see this film, Sound of Freedom. Don't think of it like a movie, okay? Think of it like a documentary, because that's pretty much what it is. It's a learning experience. It's a very important topic, and we need to get this out in the open. And we need to unite against evil. We need to crush evil. Now, when it comes to people, we want to try and redeem people's souls. And honestly, you know, we must try to approach it in the sense that everyone can be redeemed. Okay? Because, you know, I've talked about this before. I mean, maybe not in stark detail, but I'm just going to tell you, I wasn't originally a saint either. I wasn't originally a pure person. In fact, I was a very dark person myself. And Allah saved me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved me. And now I embrace the light. If I can change, anyone can change. There is hope for people. There is a way to fight and push that darkness back. So we must try. We must try. Because think about it. I mean, you could just erase an evildoer. Okay. That's ending a threat. Sure. But imagine how much better the reward would be if you turned an evildoer into a believer. Think, for example, Khalid, the sword of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, once an enemy of Islam, an enemy of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and a dangerous one at that. And then, one day, he threw himself down and laid his sword at the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's feet, and gave in, and surrendered his heart to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, from now on, my sword is yours. The law. So, again, there is redemption for those who seek it. So we need to try that first. We need to try to heal and to use love and virtue. You know, and that's a form of charity, by the way, which we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves charity. That's a form of charity. Service to others, service to Allah, those are charities. Charity isn't just, you know, handing out bills, right? Charity is giving part of yourself, giving your time, giving your heart, giving your energy. That's important too, very important. In fact, sometimes even more valuable than bills and coins, right? So, remember that it's a duty to try to spread hope and healing, and that's the best way to fight evil, honestly. You know, sometimes I can't help it. My ancient Viking blood just starts to burn like fire, and I just want to smash evil with hammer, just destroy evil, crush it, crush it. And I'm like, that's almost like letting it get to me. Okay? Remember, what was a warning that Iblis of all people had said to I think it was Musa alayhi salam when he said, "Beware of anger." It says, because when you are angry, I see through your eyes and I flow through you like your own blood. So, and that wasn't so much in a hadith. That was actually from an old Hebrew story, which some have claimed they feel is true, and I believe it is. I believe it is, but that's just my heart speaking in that sense. But that does make sense, though. The anger, that's. I mean, look at how many different parables and parallels throughout the world have talked about, how anger is the road to the dark side and so forth. It is. It is. So it's something, and I know it's hard, especially when you're faced with threats. You know, you just, and my instinct is I don't run from threats. I fight back. I attack. Threaten me, I smash you. I mean, but it's you got to try to. There's an old saying in another film called Roadhouse: "Be nice until it's time to not be nice." So yeah, it's tough fighting those, but I'm just rambling on here now. But alhamdulillah, praise be to God. I appreciate you here. I hope that you get some value out of this. And again, it's very important that we protect children above all, because they're not just ornaments. They are treasure beyond treasure. And, like I said, how you treat them now is going to help mold them into who they're going to be. So if you do terrible things to them, those are going to have terrible consequences that are going to follow them throughout their whole lives. And they're going to haunt you and yours as well. So treat them with love, dignity, and respect and patience. These are the ways towards, winning great favor with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Appreciate you here. Again, look out for those links, as I always like to leave them. And, best blessings to all. Let's hope that this coming year brings good things for everyone. And remember always, Spanakalomo bihindik with the barakas mukta ala dedukala gayuk. And assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Peace be with you all.